Hello, everyone. We are live. Jen and I are actually live coming from Harbor Therapy offices, social distanced.
Yes,
right?
Across the table.
Across the room from each other. But we wanted to share some really good, important information about a pattern of communication a lot of us as couples get into without even knowing it. So we kind of argue with our adaptive child. You're going to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So we love to pull from RLT and Terry Real here, and this is a concept made by Terry Real. So the adaptive child essentially is something that is very intelligent. It's what you did as a kid to kind of overcome your FOOBs. So it's like what you did if you came from a family that was very critical. Your adoptive child may be a person that shuts down, or your adoptive child may become very rigid, harsh, and want to fight back.
And so our FOOBs, our family of origin bullshit.
Yes.
BS. Woo, that was close. So FOOBs are family of origin BS, and our adaptive child is like that kid in grown-ups clothing that had to learn some different coping mechanisms of how to get through and navigate through family of origin stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm saying, your adaptive child is smart when you were a kid, but this is what is probably impacting your relationship today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to go over just a few things of what Terry Real would say adaptive child would be. Adaptive child would be like rigid, hard in the body,
mm-hmm.
inflexible. The opposite would be your functional adult, which is where you want to be when you're having arguments with your partner, which is like you're warm, you're forgiving, you're adaptable. And I don't want to get into too much detail about it because adaptive child, you could go.
We could talk a lot about it, right? We will. We'll come back another Facebook Live at another point. But your point is, when we have, especially hard conversations with our partner, we want to be in that functional adult, that wise part of ourselves, and not like the kid in the grown-ups clothing, like the angsty teenager.
Exactly, yeah. So I kind of want to give an example of what an argument can look like when you and your partner are both in the adaptive child.
Oh, yeah, these are the fun ones, right?
Yes.
Not so much.
And I love this because you can put wording to it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when it feels so abstract, but like just putting like wording and being like, oh, I'm in my adaptive child right now. So an example of this would be, let's say you come from a household where you're not allowed to show opinion and your partner walks away. Maybe they were just being absent-minded, but your adaptive child may be activated in that point. And what is your response to that? I'm gonna yell, I'm gonna make some noise, I'm gonna be seen.
Your adaptive child is like, oh, but no.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna hear me and you're gonna see me, watch. Right?
Yes. And in effect, what's going to happen to your partner? Well, let's say they came from a household where being yelled at meant that you got to shut down, that like you're going to get in trouble if you keep going back. So your partner is probably going to just keep withdrawing a little more, being less present, which is just going to keep this continuation of two kids, I like to think of it, having these arguments. And where is the functional adult in this? Where is the adult?
Nowhere. Not in the room. No. So it's like my angsty teenager and your angsty teenager are just button heads, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not effective. And let's say one person is in their adaptive child and the other person's in functional adult, you would think, okay, like maybe we can work with this. It's not effective either because whenever you're in your adaptive child, you are more in like, I like to say kind of like that child brain. You don't want it to be in this relationship where parent-child because as I usually say to clients, it's not sexy.
No.
It's not sexy to date your parent.
No.
And so I would say in those situations, like start talking with your partner about using this language of recognizing like, how do I know when I'm in my adoptive child?
Yeah.
I think is a good first step in terms of like giving it language.
Right. Once you have language to wrap around something, that's very powerful, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and in terms of that, what Terry Real always says is, go do something else during that time.
This is a good time for a timeout.
Yes.
Which you talked about before. You shared those tips with us before, right?
Yeah, I did. So, in terms of like when you notice you're an adoptive child, if your partner's an adoptive child, some tools to kind of do is call it out, first of all. You can be like, listen, I noticed that you're an adopted child, I'm an adopted child right now. We need to take a time out.
I'm not in a good space. It's not a good time for me to have a conversation.
Yeah, so we need to walk away. You need to get back to that grounded place. So my favorite grounded tools are some deep breathing, progressive relaxation, doing something creative to kind of get you back into that type of space. I don't know if you have any things that you really like.
Yeah, going for a walk, listening to music. Yeah. So anything to combat that initial like whoosh, like that inflame, like whoosh.
Exactly, yeah. And so when you get back into ways to know that you're getting back into your functional adult would be you notice maybe you aren't feeling so tight in your body.
Right.
Maybe you're noticing that you're like relaxing a little bit more. You're noticing the stress away. Maybe a good way of noticing it is that you're able to think from both people's perspective.
I was just thinking that a good indicator is, am I ready to listen instead of just talk?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be another way to kind of know if you're ready to reconvene.
Right.
Other things you can do is maybe you need to take some of that like energy and expend it doing something active.
That's why I go for walks.
Going for a walk. So I kind of just like encourage people to kind of get back into this language of like noticing like, am I my adoptive child? Am I my functional adult right now? And what do I need to do? What grounding techniques? What do I need to talk to myself about in order to get back to being a functional adult?
Yeah, how can I tap back into my wise self that's actually going to be a beneficial way of having a conversation with my partner instead of like spinning that same old cycle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I love having the ability to wrap words. I think that that's so powerful. You know, Fred Rogers says what's mentionable is manageable. So now kind of try this out with your partner. Just kind of have that, hey, I learned about this thing called an adaptive child, and that's when we're both, you know, that's when I'm in a space of like, I'll own that I'm being a brat, right?
Exactly.
Not my best self, not the best version of myself. And so, you know, hey, what do you say we kind of play around with when we're in that state, kind of calling a timeout and doing something that's going to allow us to come back to our functional adult.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much for giving us that tool. And if you and your partner would like some additional tools, this tool and other ones that we share with couples to help increase your ability to have hard conversations with your partner, give us a call, 813-434-3639. You can schedule a free consultation so that you can find out how we can specifically help you. All right, guys, have a happy Monday and stay safe.
Bye.